What's going on, guys? Bunch of you been asking about this video. Today, we're going to be ranking every single NHL starting goalie. I've already done this video both for the #1 defenseman as well as #1 centers. Both those videos were pretty controversial. I'm sure today will be no different. And speaking of the last two videos, guys, I got to bring up the #1 center list. Had a ton of Canadians fans telling me I got Suzuki way wrong. And you know what? He's been playing really good lately, so I got to agree. I got to change his tier. I'm going to put him in below.
And here we go.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm going to put him in good. He's been playing very well. Had some people mentioning Tage Thompson too, who's actually been scoring at will literally since I made this video. I'm still going to leave him mid though, because I think as a 1C, Tage Thompson is kind of just average, but as a winger, which is actually where he's been playing lately, scoring all these goals, he's at least good, if not elite. But hopefully now Canadians fans aren't too upset with me, at least until I put Montembeault wherever I put him in this video. So we'll get started here, guys. This tier list, the same as before. You got superstar at the top, elite, good, mid, and then below average. You'll see here, this one actually includes every single NHL goaltender, but again, I'm just going to be ranking starting goalies. If it's a team where there's like a 1A, 1B tandem situation, say like the Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm going to rank both guys, but if there's a clear starter, we're just going to rank the starter. Nice too that we actually have everybody. That way, you know, trades, for instance, Spencer Knight's already here, can use him for the Blackhawks. So starting off, guys, speaking of tandems, we have one here, Anderson and Kochetkov. I feel like they're both pretty good. They're at least mid, if not good. I personally feel like Anderson's the better goalie, even though I think they split literally every other game. Maybe Anderson good, Kochetkov mid. Like I said, I do give the edge to Anderson. Merzlikins here lost his starting job end of the season. Is it Greaves? I forget the guy that came in. He's playing better than both Merzlikins and Tarasov. I think he's 3-0 right now. Merzlikins is definitely below average. Honestly, he's one of the worst starting goalies in the NHL. Next up here, we got Jacob Markstrom. I think he's a good starting goaltender. I don't think he's quite elite, though. After that, we have Ilya Sorokin. Of course, he's one of the better goaltenders in the NHL. At least a top 10. I'd probably say top 5 goalie, so he'll be going in the elite category. For me, superstar, kind of like the defenseman, you had McCarr and Hughes. For forwards, you only had McDavid, McKinnon. You're talking, you know, the best, maybe top 2 goalies in the league. I for sure gonna have one guy there. Maybe I'll have 2. After that, we got Igor Shesterkin. So actually, immediately talking about some superstar goalies, he's the guy who I think could be the other superstar. I'm sure you guys know who the other one's gonna be. He's at least elite. This season obviously wasn't his best, but the Rangers weren't great either. I mean, a couple years ago when he won the Vezina, he had some of the best goalie numbers we'd seen in quite some time. I'm going to put him superstar just because if you want to have like the top 2 guys there, he probably is number 2 in the league. Next up, Philadelphia, Samuel Ersson here. I think just like Merzlikins, one of the worst, if not the worst starter in the NHL. He is definitely below average. After that, we got Pittsburgh. Honestly, Tristan Jarry kind of has been the starter. Tristan Jarry's not on this list, so we're going to pretend that Blomqvist here is Tristan Jarry, in which case I would still say, oh my gosh, where would you even rank him? I feel like he was a mid goalie, and after this season, he's below average. Honestly, too, I think he has played more than Eljovic, so we'll just pretend, again, that's Jarry. He'll be below average. Next up here, we got Charlie Lindgren, Logan Thompson. This is kind of a 1A, 1B. Logan Thompson's had an elite season, but before now, I would say he's good. So if you're going to value like the 4 seasons prior over this one, I think he'd probably stay good. He would have to kind of do it for me again to go up into that elite category. And then Charlie Lindgren here has never been a starting goalie. So for me, honestly, I was talking about the tandems. I feel like to be in the elite category, you have to be like a true #1. You can't be splitting games. Lindgren is at most a tandem goalie. So as a #1, he's probably below average. Maybe mid. I feel like below average, though, probably makes more sense. This one's a little bit harsh, but again, like he's just never been the guy. After that, you got Boston here. Jeremy Swayman, who's listed twice for some reason. Swayman's tough. Swayman is at least good, if not elite. This is a tough one. He's also had a bit of a down year. I feel like Swayman's probably up there, though, in the top 10 goalies, so he probably could be in that elite category. After that, you got Luukkonen on the Buffalo Sabres. I think as a starting goalie, Luukkonen's pretty mid. I think that's fair. The Red Wings, we'd probably... I mean, honestly, we have a 1A, 1B with Talbot and Lyon. Talbot's been not bad this year. But again, like, is he really the guy? They brought in Mrazek. He stole games. Talbot's got flashes of brilliance, but I think he's still a pretty mid starting goaltender. And then Lyon here, I think, has below 900 save percentage this season, so he'd have to go below average. Again, I think 900 is kind of like your average starting goalie save percentage. And after that, guys, we got Bobrovsky, reigning Stanley Cup champion. Obviously, he's elite. He had a couple down years there. Everyone said worst contract in the league, but I mean, he bounced back, literally helped Florida win a Stanley Cup. He was so good in the playoffs. I think no one's really going to argue him an elite. I watched actually a video. It might have been Shesterkin ranking his goaltenders, and he had Bobrovsky as number 1 or number 2 in the league, which I think being a bit rose-colored glasses ranking him, but still, his fellow goalies definitely have him, highly touted. Spencer Knight here up next. Obviously, was Bobrovsky's backup till going to Chicago. He's played pretty well in Chicago on not a great team, but like this is his first time being the starter. I don't think it's kind of too harsh to put him below average for now. After that, we got Montreal up next. Samuel Montembeault, obviously the starter there. I think Montembeault is just an average starting goalie. I think that's pretty fair. Habs fans are upset with this one. I mean, I don't know what to say. Ottawa here, Linus Ullmark, I think is an elite goaltender as well. Big reason why Boston set the NHL win record was because they had 2 elite goalies that could literally share the load during the regular season. And, he's done well with Ottawa, kind of a shaky start to the season, but has definitely bounced back. And big reason why the team as a whole has bounced back as well. Vasilevsky here, I think for sure is an elite goalie. This year he's actually had one of his best years. I think last year, maybe even the year before that, weren't his best. But I think come playoff time, Vasilevsky easily top 5 goalie in the league. We'll see how he does this season. I'm personally leaning towards Tampa in terms of the Tampa-Florida playoff matchup, which I think is going to happen round 1. After that, we got Toronto. So Stolarz here, honestly, has elite numbers. But as I mentioned, he just has never been like the starter. I don't know if he's played more than 40 games in his career. So I think for him, you got to put him good. Again, I think you can't be a tandem and be elite. You have to actually be playing like, the majority of the games, because it's a lot easier to play half the games and put up good numbers than it is to play 75% plus and still have those good numbers. Not only is it a larger sample size, but it's also, just harder on the goalie. So I think everyone agreed to be an elite starting goalie, you have to actually have starting games played. Now behind him, you got Joseph Woll. I would say he's probably a mid-starter. I think that's pretty fair. I don't think he's below average. Chicago already did them with Spencer Knight. Mrazek, you could maybe argue is a 1C in Detroit, but it's not really worth it. Colorado, Mackenzie Blackwood. This is a tough one. He's been pretty bad the last couple years on the Sharks and then the Devils, but this year he is actually playing pretty well in the Sharks, and he got even better with the Avs. Like, he was putting up elite numbers. I think those would probably come down to good. Blackwood is a really tough one to grade. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to say he's a mid-starting goalie. And I mean, there's some people probably say he's a good starting goalie. But again, outside of this year, it's below average. It's not even debatable. So I think this year's pumped him up to a mid, and he could keep getting better up to a good. Next up, Jake Ottinger. I think is an elite goalie. So I'm not really going to overthink that one. For sure, in my mind, one of the top 10 goalies in the league. Minnesota, Philip Gustafsson. I think he's a solid starting goalie. I'm going to put him good. I don't think overthink that one. He's definitely not, elite in my mind, and I think he is better than just your average. Saros here, not having a great season with the Preds, but again, the Preds as a whole are pretty terrible. I still think Saros is an elite goaltender. I think anyone who argues that, look at the numbers basically last couple seasons outside of this one, and he's easily elite. I think, honestly, he's had some top 5 numbers. Jordan Binnington. This one is tough, because, Binnington has pretty average numbers lately, but then, on this last 12 game win streak, I think they're 12-2 now, whatever it is. Binnington's been absolutely red hot basically since Four Nations break, where he helped Canada win. He was clutch in the gold medal game. He was clutch when St. Louis needed him to win the Stanley Cup. So he's a guy that's average until you need him most, and then he's superstar level. Man, so I don't know. He's either mid or he's good. This one I have the right to change these as I go on. I'm gonna put Binnington good. Again, I might lower him, but we'll see. Vamelka here, I don't think's too bad. I think he's pretty much definition of a mid-starting goalie. Connor Hellebuck, he's of course the guy I alluded to the whole video in regards to superstar. He is, without a doubt, a superstar goalie. Shesterkin, like I said, maybe he's just elite. Hellebuck has to be superstar. The last 2 seasons, he's been the best goalie in the league by far. After that, we got the Ducks here. I would say this is like a 1A, 1B. I don't even know who, probably Dostal's the 1A at this point. Obviously, it's Ben Gibson. They're both pretty good goalies. I didn't even realize, I was looking at the stats the other day. Gibson's top 10 in save percentage somehow, which is really interesting because Dostal was doing better. Now it's Gibson. So, wow, I don't really know. I don't know what to do with these two. They're both at least mid. And then you could almost argue that they're both good starting goalies, and it's just the fact that the Ducks suck that they're not, putting up better numbers than they are. Because again, Gibson's top 10 save percentage. Dostal has solid save percentage this year. Blackwood's below them. Blackwood's been doing better, but the Avs are such a better team. I wonder if both those guys would be doing better as well on the Avs, or are they just an average? I don't know. I'm gonna try this, and like I said, I can adjust things later on. Next up, we got Dustin Wolf, the Calgary Flames. I think he's been a great goalie this year. Reason why I think he'll probably be a Calder nominee. Him, Celebrini, Lane Hudson. I think they'll get in the spot over Michkov because that'd be a forward defenseman and goalie. It would kind of work out well that way. He's been a big reason why the Flames are actually still in playoff contention. Outside shot for sure, but they have a chance. I would say, obviously, we only have one season to grade it on, but he's been good this year. So we got to put them in the good category, right? Like, that's only fair. After him, we got Stuart Skinner. Skinner, for me, is at best mid. You could maybe argue below average, but oh man, where would you put Skinner? I think mid's fair. Like, he did, backstop Edmonton to a Stanley Cup final game 7 last year. I don't think that happens with a below average goalie, so I think mid's fine. And then next up here, guys, we got Darcy Kuemper. This is another interesting one. He was essentially given away for free by the Capitals in exchange for Dubois, who also LA kind of gave away for free. And this year, Kemper's been very, very good. Probably a top 5 goalie in the league. I've got him on my fantasy team. Honestly, guys, I don't know what I was thinking. The one weekend, it was like semifinals. LA didn't say he was starting until 30 minutes before the game, so I had him on my bench. He gets a shutout. If I had started him, I would have made the finals. Instead, I missed. I'm still rattled. You can probably tell. Kemper is definitely not elite. He's got elite numbers this year. And like I said, last year he got given away. He didn't have great numbers. I think Kemper's a good goalie. I don't think I would probably argue that. And now the Sharks here, guys, we got Georgiev. I think this one's pretty easy. Below average for sure. I mean, he was playing so bad with the Avs to start the season. They trade him to the Sharks for Blackwood. Blackwood comes in, puts up much better numbers. And even last year, Georgiev's stats were not very good with the Avs. That's why I think they just lost all patience with him. And then now on the Sharks, the numbers obviously are even worse. They're abysmal. And now next up, we got Joey Daccord on the Seattle Kraken. I think Daccord's a pretty decent starting goalie. I think he'd be mid. I think that's pretty fair. Maybe an argument for good, but mid makes more sense in my mind. I'm not sure who this is. If that's Grubauer, that does not look like how I thought Grubauer looked. Next up, we got the Canucks. You could almost argue Lankinen as a 1B, but just to make it easy, we'll keep Demko here. So when healthy, Demko's an elite goalie. The thing is, he has tons of injury issues, and I know this year his numbers when coming back haven't been great, probably because he hasn't been playing enough. So, I mean, I think we'll be nice. We'll say when Demko's healthy, he's an elite goalie, and I hope he can kind of get back to like a more healthy state. And then finally here, Adin Hill on the Vegas Golden Knights. I feel like Hill is at least mid, maybe good. I know he won a Stanley Cup and everything, but when I think Adin Hill, I think of just like an average starting goalie. So I'm looking at it. The only thing I'm worried about is like the 2 Ducks goalies being good. That might be kind of crazy. So you know what, guys? I'm going to make one switch here. I just feel like Blackwood is, doing much better than the Ducks goalies this year. So he'll go up to good. Again, there's a lot of recency bias here. And then I think the Ducks goalies will put in mid. As again, they have decent numbers. And I know like the team in front of them is not the best, but I don't know if they're doing quite good enough to be on the level as like these guys here. I think a mid starting goalie for both of them is still pretty fair. And so I think it's a bit better now, guys. I guess technically they should be like right here, right? Because it's alphabetical by division, the goalies. You know what? Maybe Luukkonen will put below average as well. I think, yeah, that's probably fine. Like, if he was a bit better, I think Buffalo would also be a bit better, but his numbers haven't really been the best this year. I think last year was better, but I think last year, you could probably say he was mid. This year, he's below average. I don't know. We'll put him below average there just to make it a bit more equal. So I like this now. I think we do have, 8 elite goalies plus 2 superstars. So this is the top 10. And then you got your good. Most of the goalies are in the mid, which makes sense. I think overall that's not too bad. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'm sure I will get ripped apart in the comments. People always disagree, but it's tough. Sometimes, like I said, there's guys that could, fit into either category, and you got to try to make a decision when it's a 50-50. But overall, I think it's not too bad of a list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, leave that thumbs up. I'm sure there'll be a lot of dislikes. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button down below. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.